All right, so let's start small, like really small. A flea the size of a breadcrumb can jump over 200 times its own height. That's like a human, you or I, jumping over the Eiffel Tower from a standstill. But here's the really interesting part. There was a popular experiment in which a group of scientists placed a group of fleas inside a jar and closed the lid over them. At first, the fleas started to attempt to jump their normal heights. They hit the lid over and over. Jump, hit, jump, hit. Until eventually, they just stopped trying. They learned their limit. They learned to not try to jump any higher. Now here's the really fascinating part. When the scientists took the fleas out of these jars, they realized something. The fleas weren't jumping any higher. They were stuck jumping at the same height they did inside the jar for the rest of their lives. And their children after them, well, they didn't even try. The next generation had just inherited the habit of limitation. My name is Arjun Sabherwal, and my question for you all today is, how often are we just like those fleas? We might not be trapped in large glass jars, although if you are, please seek help. However, we're all trapped by invisible boundaries, barriers. These might be passed down to us from our culture, our family, but they're just as real. Behavioral economics tells us that we're not rational thinkers, we're not free thinkers making rational choices, we're creatures of context. We're anchored by impressions, we're nudged by defaults. We are creatures of context. Now, we might think that our decisions are our own. However, life typically gets there first. Before we're the age to even make a conscious choice, life gets there first and makes some of these choices for us. Our culture, our social standing, our class, our family, those are anchors that shape what feels possible for us. Now, in economics, in behavioral economics specifically, this is known as the anchoring bias. The first thing you see sets the limit and expectations for everything after it. For example, supermarkets do this all the time. You walk into a store, you see very expensive flat screen TVs at the front of the store. Now, when you walk further in, you might see a slightly cheaper one, and wow, all of a sudden, it feels significantly more reasonable. The same thing applies to identity. If when you're a young child, you're imposed with expectations, you're told that, oh, you're the smart child, oh, you're the obedient one, or you're not leadership material, those become your reference points. You either spend your life trying to live up and build up to those expectations, or you spend your life rebelling against them. Either way, those expectations define you. Now, moving further, something as specific as your choice in color, your color preference, is shaped by factors like geography or climate. Studies show that in warmer regions, people gravitate toward warmer color palettes, in colder climates, cooler ones. Something as personal as your favorite color is shaped by the society around you. It goes deeper than that even. So when you're looking at your life, you have expectations, you have barriers, you have lids, you have ceilings, you have jars that you're trying to escape. When you're looking at expectations placed upon you, you need to realize that not every decision you make is necessarily your own. Furthering this, behavioral economics has a fact called signaling. From when you're at a young age, you might be more able or willing to choose for yourself. You might be more of a child who wanted to become an astronaut, a firefighter. But as you grow older, you're forced to conform to the expectations placed upon you. This, in economics, is known as signaling. When you get older, you send signals out about your competence, your credibility, your self-worth hoping for approval, applause, or at least some amount of attention. We curate our LinkedIn profiles, we edit our highlight reels on Instagram, we send out messages saying that we're starting an exciting new chapter of our lives, when really, we're just burning out. My question for you all today is, do you want to be defined by societal expectations, or what matters to you? A study from Deloitte showed that over 60% of workers believed they couldn't truly be themselves at work. 60%. The majority of people spend their lives conforming, sending out a false pretense or an image of themselves that doesn't exist, and then wonder why they feel disconnected. Dan O'Reilly is a founding voice in behavioral economics, and he calls us predictably irrational. We don't make these decisions of our own free will. We're nudged, we're anchored, we're influenced by other people and people that impose such restrictions or limitations upon us. We are, as I said earlier, creatures of context. But see, it doesn't need to be that way. We don't need to remain confined. We don't need to stay inside these jars. We don't need to keep hitting the lid or wondering what's the point of even trying to jump. What we need to do is start looking at life through two distinct questions. The first is, what do I want more of in my life? Do I want to create space for myself to be able to read, to study, to be with people that make me feel better? Do I want to work on honing my own skills for fields that might not impress at a dinner party or a job interview, but matter to me? The second question you guys should be using to filter what you do with your life is, what's something that I want less of? This could be spending time around people that make you feel small, less capable, or unable to achieve what you truly want. The second is environments which make you feel like you need to put forth a false pretense or a version of yourself that you don't believe in. Every decision we make, every conscious choice we make shapes who we are as growing individuals in a multinational society. And to be honest, I know what it's like to lose sight of that. When I was younger, I was dead set on going into computer science, right? While children around me had not yet conformed, they were still dreaming large. They were thinking outside the jar. They wanted to be astronauts. They wanted to be firefighters. I picked a safe choice, one that I was applauded for at such a young age because it was a reasonable decision: computer science. But as I got older, I realized this wasn't just pushing me forward anymore. Computer science was actually weighing me down. While it was a safe choice, while it's what society expected of me, it wasn't me. So I made another incredibly rebellious choice and swapped to engineering. This, again, was considered safe. It was considered stable. It was something that most people would aspire to be. But again, it wasn't who I was. It wasn't in the fabric of me. So after a little more experimentation, I found finance and economics, something that genuinely clicked for me, something that made me ambitious, something that made me want to get up every single day and continue working. Once I found my passion, I finally realized that while we might have expectations imposed on us, who we are is our own choice, or at least it can be if we make stable decisions that reflect the inner ambitions, values, and goals of who we are as people. Every day, we wake up, we go to work, we go to school, and we make little decisions. The decision to be who you want to be, whether that's an engineer, a student, a daughter, a son, a mother, a father, a friend, isn't one large decision you make. It's the little choices that you make every single day. It's the ones you make when you brush your teeth in the morning. It's the ones you make when you say hi to your friends in the morning. It's the little choices that form who we are. And all I want is for everyone here to think more carefully about what is the fabric of you. if it's a cloth that's woven purely based on tradition or culture, if it's shaped by impressions, if it's shaped by other people's expectations of you, if you're being nudged, if you're being persuaded, if you're signaling, I want you to take control over your own life and reflect outwards who you are inside. Thank you.